Where was I? Last video. It cut off. It got short. Anyway, now we have the Cub Cadet story. And when I found this, I only got to make like a 1-second video because I was actually getting afraid that the people that put this out in the street for scrap were going to want to take it back because they're pissed off at me. Because the guy just seal coated his driveway. I didn't know. I was only informed that by the guy that was pissed off. They put it out in the street by the curb. Long story longer. I drove past it. I mean, look at this thing. Look at it. Look at it. It doesn't look bad. It's not all beat up. No flat tires. Not a ripped seat, etc. It's pretty much all together, right? With freshly cut grass, okay? And their lawn was freshly cut. So what does that say? Oftentimes, my experience, that's an older person usually. They left it by the curb for a minute. They walked inside to go pee or sit down and relax for a minute, not thinking that, a scrapper's going to come along and might scoop it up, which I didn't. I passed it by. I went around the block. The guy's dad, an older guy, obviously, flagged me down. Hey, there's a Cub Cadet on the next block. My son put it out there. It's got a cracked block. You can have it for scrap. I'm like, thank you. Hey, you know what? My truck is full. My truck. Okay. Can I get it back in an hour? I'll put it up in the driveway. No real response. The guy just waved at me, goes, hey. Okay, so, I don't know. So, me not wanting to leave it in the street because somebody else might grab it, I go and drag it up into their driveway. Actually push it because the thing rolls very nicely. Very nicely. Okay, it's not your typical wreckage left by the curbside. So I pushed it up into the driveway. It had just rained, so the curb, the gutter, or whatever was filled with water. It's flooded. Okay. I proceeded to push it up into the guy's driveway alongside the house. And of course the tires went into the water that's along the curb because we just had a lot of rain. The day previous to me finding this. And unbeknownst to me, it's leaking oil. And not just a little bit of oil, but quite a bit of oil. And I left a trail of a tread mark all the way up the driveway. So I unload the scrap from my truck, scoot on back, and it's back out in the street. I'm like, not really a good sign, but then again, So I proceed to drop the tailgate, pull out a couple of 2x4s for ramps, and I start to get the thing about 1 foot up the ramp. And then the guy starts screaming and shouting. He's got a garden hose and what appears to be like a jug of soap or something in his hand. And he's squirting the driveway. I'm like, wow. He's like, hey. I'm like, yeah. It's like, are you the guy that put this up in my driveway? With a bunch of explicitives and stuff, a bunch of F words and who told you to put this up in my driveway? I'm like, well, I talked to your dad, and he didn't really say to put it up in the driveway, but he said there's a Cub Cadet out in the street. And I said to the guy, I passed it up because I didn't think it was scrap, because I'm too honest. What gave you the right to push it in my driveway? I just seal coated this driveway. I paid $600 to have the driveway seal coated, blah, blah, blah. You know, a really big driveway, by the way. I'm feeling bad, actually. Now I'm thinking they're going to tell me to drop the lawnmower and don't take it and let some other scrapper take it, which they did not say, but I was starting to think that, the level of pissed off that they were. So I really hurriedly get the thing onto the truck. It was hanging off the tailgate. You know, I tied some straps onto it and scurried off. I apologized. Mid-conversation with the homeowner, the dad comes around in this little doodlebug scooter thing. Because he lives like 4 or 5 houses down. And says, hey, I didn't tell you to put it up in the driveway. I go, no, you talked to me about Cub Cadet. And I said, well, I didn't know it was scrap. So I didn't even bother touching it. I'm like, oh, shit. Those are jumping off words. People could use those words as segues, you know, by saying, don't touch that shit, which they did not say, but that was my fear. I'm like, I don't want to talk too much. Well, I'll just apologize and keep apologizing. I'm sorry. Which I was. I didn't know. I didn't know it was dropping oil like that. But then again, I'm thinking, well, okay, you just had the driveway seal coated. And the seal coating is supposed to do what? It's supposed to protect it from everything. Stains, oil stains, etc., etc. So if you just had it seal coated, well, it should be doing its job. No, I didn't say that to them, though. It's a little tattery, like that cheap plastic that Cub Cadet uses. It's melted from the heat from the muffler, from the exhaust. Overall, not a bad one. I mean, obviously the engine's not locked up. And there is compression. So, my thinking is, they're probably right. There's a crack in the block. I'm not sure what to do next. I think from Bert from Scrap Farm commented on the battery. Yes, this thing is a real workhorse. I've gotten a lot of use out of this. Taking these things apart. Of course, they did scavenge the battery. Is this the battery box? What is this thing? Well, that's the Cub Cadet story. See, we have the John Deere story going, and now we have the Cub Cadet story. To be continued somehow or another. Yeah, I got that little tool from Harbor Freight. I got that tool from Harbor Freight, and I got the wheels off. I had like channels like Daniel's Toolbox saying I could take a needle nose pliers and grind it down, which probably would work. I didn't get around to doing that. I'm saving that. Maybe I might be able to use that. I'm funny, aren't I? That tire looks fairly recent, actually. So this thing was like cared for. This one, not so much. A little dry rot on that one. Oh, there's water splashing around in there. Oh, look at that. It didn't grind. If it does, it does. I'll just use the Sawzall on it. This one loosened? I don't know, but it is now. That one is in there. Alright, which one's stuck? That one's stuck. I put a little pressure on it. Nope. No. They tried to send me to rehab, and I said, no. Wow. That song, sad and funny at the same time. Last name theory, Amy Winehouse. Oh, Lord have mercy. See, look at the ADHD just running amok. What am I doing? I don't even know what the hell I'm doing now. This is like watching the Barry Jeebers show. 86 junks. Let's send Whistling Diesel there. Cody, what's his last name? Can't remember his last name. He destroys expensive cars. What car was that got caught fire in the cornfield? Was that a Lambo or something? I don't remember. Send them to the Barry Dreamer junkyard. He'd tear that place up nice. Yeah, that bulb is broken. Kinda. Be careful, King. Yeah, I know, right? I got my squint goggles on. We could just drop it in here, right? Oh, it didn't blow up. Squint goggle 2000. That is not going to go. We're going to have to drag out the Sawzall, I think. That's not a Sawzall, King. No. That'd be a hammer. That is wedgied in there. Give it a little smack. This is no longer wedgied. Over an aluminum pile. What we got here? Something next to impossible to remove? No. We'll just smack it a little bit. That's what we're after. after that transformer.